Good morning, everyone. Dobro jutro. Welcome to our session. And I have an exercise for you because yesterday I was asked several times, where is Florent? And Florent is my colleague from Grünenthal, and I just want to have this exercise to send him a picture. Who of you knows Florent? Please stand up. It's much easier for me to have this as a picture. Very good. And who of you is doing a transformation in his company in the digital world? Also a question. Also, please stand up because it's much more, and then I can send to Florent a picture that a lot of people knows him. Is this possible? Only this few people doing transformations. Thank you very much. So transformation is our topic today, Telea.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to be here for Grünenthal and with my colleague Telea. Telea is leading in Grünenthal customer experience and is the lead of our most important asset for the future, Qtensa. And happy to talk about the transformation we are doing with our company.
Excellent. And Robert, I'm really happy to be here with you today. Robert is the cluster lead for DACH, which is Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. And I think it's testament. There was a joke on the way to dinner last night. Are you two going to fight on stage, global and local?
That's
so we'll refrain
easy.
from that today. But we're really happy to be talking to you about the realities of taking an organization from a very product-focused organization to a customer-centric organization. And it's early days. You're going to hear about the realities of that. And let's get into it.
Let's look on the first question, why we were motivated as a company to do a transformation where we are in actually.
Yeah, I think there's many factors that have happened over the course of time that has motivated us to do this. One of the things that started the discussion was the typical changing portfolio, P&L pressures, and what we needed to do for the future to actually account for that. And then the discussion became a lot more inspirational around things like how has our industry evolved over time. Well, I remember when I was a rep in the field a couple of years ago, that when we first went into a doctor, we were giving information that they hadn't already heard or hadn't already seen. And the value that we created was very different to the value that we have to create today. And we've heard a lot about this in this conference around, the need for digital transformation because where our customers want to be spoken to is at a completely different stage to where it was 20 years ago is the reality of when I'm talking about. That our customers aren't just looked at as prescribers anymore. In pharma, we've been so product focused that all we've looked at is how they prescribe our products. And now we have to look at them as consumers. They're engaging with platforms like Amazon. They're going into Apple stores. And they're actually wanting more from us in terms of the way they get information and the way they consume it. They're short on time. Like everyone, there's a lot more pressure around this. Then COVID, like us all, rapidly made us have to transform digital. And I think in the previous panel, we talked about omnichannel. We're not really there yet. I think we're really multi-channel, and we really need to move towards that. And then, the company needs, and therefore the inspirational talk started to think about, well, how do we transform as an organization rather than loss of exclusivity and P&L pressures and those types of things into a what do we need to be as an organization for the future? What capabilities do we need? What roles do we need to build? And this resulted in a complete transformation, restructure, however you want to paint it. But every single role had the future of the organization and what we want to be as a company in mind. So the new model is customer experience is vital for our success model. We want to delight our customers and we want to actually contribute better in the industry that we have, and we want to help our doctors solve and our healthcare providers solve the problems that they need to solve. And at the core of that, let's never forget the patient. The patient is the real unmet needs. And then the customer experience driven is around, that instead of a push, we want to do the pull, and we want to ensure that we're giving our doctors and our customers the right information at the right time through the right channel in order to empower them to do better for their patients. So, Robert, I'm going to throw a question to you. What have we done to embark on this in reality? We can talk about the aspirations, but what did it take to actually get to where we are?
Yeah, where we are today, it was quite a tough journey over the last 18 months, I would say. The company changed. It's a transformational process, and you can see now on the left side our operational process, how we are structured now. And this is now from January 1st this year. And we have a clear global cross-functional team which is driving the strategy. Of course, Comex is measuring, but bringing the innovation to the company and creating a lot of new stuff for all of us. And we, in a cluster or in the locals, we are the executors. And this was not always easy, and especially to accept when we developed this new model for Grünenthal, because in the past, Grünenthal was much more different than this model. And helpful was that we all did it together. So that means we built clusters. Who is responsible for what? And in the global asset team of Telea for her product, from my cluster, my asset lead is sitting in the leadership team or in the cross-functional mesh. And that's really helpful because they are developing things together. And from each cluster, we have specialists who are responsible together with the globals for the global strategy, adapting it local, of course. But it's really helpful that we are inclusive. We are working together much more than in the past because the countries are involved and focused together. And the structure, how we developed it, was not an approach bringing McKinsey or BCG to the company and developing a new org chart. It was done together, global, local, over 12 months, and this was really great work. And that's why, and I said, we are now in the month 5. We launched the clusters last year in October, and this new structure is now for half a year in place. But what we can see is a total different approach on the assets situation we have, and much more higher focus on our strategy and implementation. And of course, you are much more measuring the execution in the countries. And that's fun. It's a good place to be. And but it's a transformation, so it's not easy. And we talked a lot about people and change, and this is also something where we are totally in. It's a way to go, but I'm confident that we will achieve it.
And I think too, I mean, the asset leadership model is a powerful model from a cross-functional perspective. I mean, if you look at even the discussions we've had about giving our customers the information they want at the right point, it's got to be cross-functional, and it's not. And one of the biggest transitions in the asset leadership, I think, in the clusters, and correct me if I'm wrong, Robert, is we're a German company by background, and we've in the past been quite hierarchical.
And traditional, yes.
And traditional, very
yeah.
traditional. Yeah. And I think that empowering an asset lead who's not necessarily at the band or grade of a market access person or a medical lead in the cluster, they have to challenge and they have to really look at that. But it's a real co-creation, so that by the time the strategy gets to a point of execution, everybody's aligned. It's been built with the markets involved, and therefore we're trying to bring that reality to the execution aspect as well, and not just a global strategy that the markets go and change and do what they want, because sometimes that happens, doesn't it?
True. But let's look from us internally on our model to our customers, and I think that's also important that how we change their Telea from your perspective.
So the other thing that we did to try and go from a product to a customer or centric model was around listening to the voice of our customer. So we embarked on a project. We partnered with KPMG, and we did internal voice of the business surveys within to see where we were from a customer experience perspective. I mean, it was kind of a no-brainer. We knew we were at a very immature stage. We also did voice of the customer, and we really asked our customers about what we want. And Grünenthal is our target is a world free of pain, is our overall mission statement. But what we're looking for from a commercial perspective, and what our customers really told us they wanted us to help them with, is that pain remains a complex problem to solve. And they want us to help them solve it, and they want us to do better so that they can treat their patients better. So our mission and everything that we drive from a how do we want, customer experience is about how people walk away feeling after they interact with you at every touch point. What we want them to do is feel empowered to treat their patients better when they engage with us. And I think this is quite a powerful purpose within as well. We talked about purpose on stage here at this conference. It's an extremely powerful purpose. And even yesterday, we're going into another phase of phase 2 because, we can all stand here on stage and talk about customer experience and really pushing towards our customer. But the reality is sometimes we still have work to do in our C-suite in the sense of we still want to show a link between impact on brands and customer experience. So we're really trying to find the balance between giving that need to the C-suite, but also ensuring that we're driving from a customer perspective. So we have a great purpose. We're still in a very early phase, but that's our mission right now. So when you look at it, our new model starts with, we did a whole digital transformation, and those of you that know Florent, he spearheaded that. And everybody needs a Florent in a company to really drive that aspiration and that vision. And what we looked at was, really starting with the customer journey. Where are our customers at? What do they need to actually move along in terms of the experience arc? Then we looked at our content. And in Pharma, we're so good at creating loads of content. But we're not good at asking our customers if the content is what they really want. And that's really where we need to start from a customer experience perspective. If we want to empower them through medical education and helping them treat patients better, we really need to look at that. Omni, moving from multi-channel to omni, as we said, I don't think any of us are fully there yet because we're not even engaging some of the channels. And then looking at platforms, deploying it to the customer and really measuring impact. And I think, Ian Golding, who's a customer experience specialist in the UK, talks a lot about this random to intentional customer experience and then to differentiated. And really, I keep saying, because, if I had $1 for every time a cluster lead or someone in your leadership team, Robert, says to me, but we're already doing customer experience, Telea, I'd probably be sitting on the beach in Croatia instead. But I think, I'm really trying to get them to think about the fact that we're doing random experience because we're not necessarily asking what our customers are thinking of what we're giving them. Are our materials, are our interactions really empowering them to treat their patients better? And I think that's the crux of where we're at. But we've got a real live example, don't we, Robert? So how are we doing this in reality?
That's, as you said, it's a journey to go. And but I also love the quote of the guys before that we have also to ask our reps. Because
Yes.
we talked a lot yesterday about reps, and we are still talking about reps or people who are interacting with our customers. And also, to be honest here, it's a way to go because not all our people are digital natives, are happy to support this journey, and the most of them are afraid of their jobs, of their future.
Yeah.
And that's something we also learned over the last 2 years. So 3 years ago, we started a journey. It's called Fuji. It's bringing digital stuff to us. I think Florent talked a lot about over the next talks in the last couple of years and months. And you can see some barriers we saw in our organization. We heard from, in Germany, we have a very strong workers' council. It's another story, but we can also fill a conference. So to bring customer journeys to alive. But we overcome all these hurdles with our first customer journeys for one of our most important products in 2020. And you can see the results. Maybe we can go on the next slide. It's easier to follow the numbers because we started 2020 the first customer journey in a pilot group of 2,000 customers. And we had close to 600 completion rates going through this journey, driven by our reps, by our motivated reps. And we can see great results. Here is a quote of a customer, an email coming back. So you're welcome, great results. It was a 10-year campaign of Tapinadol, but not important. I think content is key when we listen to the customer, and we also overcome the internal hurdles. The content is not relevant. It's my customer, so I am the driver of the digital stuff, and also the opt-outs will increase. And We gain 20,000 e-permissions in the first year, of course, as we all learned, COVID helped us. But that was quite a journey for Grünenthal because we started with close to zero in 2019. And I also brought, that's a campaign from 2020, but I brought some other stuff to us. It's a campaign of one of our launch products in 2021. It's a customer journey on close to 12,000 customers. We divided them in groups. You can see the green one or the dark green one. It's the customer journey finisher. So our reps and our headquarter team started a journey, and the groups are like 4,000 customers. So really significant. And you can also see the partially participants. So the customer journey was a six email campaign with some stuff you can go deeper in. And of course, we had a comparison cluster and a no target cluster because we have no A permissions. I said we are around 22,000 currently in Germany. Our target group is much higher in the GP setting. And you see the increase of prescriber breadth is significant, especially to the comparison group. And this is showing us that also the result on the product is a good one. Sometimes we are discussing with the global teams, is now the net promoter score the relevant thing, or is it the market share of a product, or is it the use of how many patients we have on drug, etc. But all is coming together, and this is, I have to say, the start. It's we are at the beginning, but these are real data from last year, and of course we are following the months after. Here you see the last year, and the increase is still there, and that makes me confident that we can win our teams. That we, of course, we have also to change the people who are sometimes in the driver's seat to our customers, and we have to work together to bring this alive to all other products in our house, the customer experience, and that's why I'm really positive about the trends in our industry, but it's a way to go. It's a way to go. It's a cultural change. It's a people change, and it's fun to be here and to do this with our teams.
And I think the other point that we touched on is that the other part of the voice of the customer that came through is the human contact is still very important. And so I think, that's something that we need to talk to our internal teams about and keep them at the center of it, because the human contact will never go away. I mean, we've all enjoyed being here physically together instead of being on a remote call.
Cool.
And I think, when you talk about CSAT, net promoter scores versus product, traditional product metrics, I think it's about creating a balance between the two until we're more comfortable with the different measures that we haven't traditionally used. So we have, we're at the beginning of our journey, and I think that, we've got things to do, but we're going to get there, and the way to get there is to also be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And embracing failures and learning from them rather than always presenting the fact that we've succeeded.
And do it local and global together, Still, Good.
Thank you very much
Thank
for your
you very
time.
much.